Oh, good morning. I know we're coming up to Valentine's Day on Friday, and it's an important day, obviously, for any couple. But for me, I want your relationship to be great all year round. and in my business card, it says the tools are available in today's world to have the relationship of your dreams, and I truly believe that. And so, in my little book, so far, this is chapter 3 now. The idea of the skill you need. But in chapter 1, we looked at the importance of safety. Your old brain has a 500 million year track record. You're not going to change it. If you don't feel safe, you'll defend yourself. And then chapter 2 looked at the space between. That a relationship is not just the two of you, but the space between you as well. It's a real energy field, and you can tell, can't you, when there's tension. It's either tension-free or it's not. There's sort of no middle ground. And you cannot keep putting negativity in that space between, because the negativity causes disconnect. What you want is connect. And if you put negativity in there, it causes disconnect. And if it gets too negative, then people start to avoid. Why would they go into a toxic space? So chapter 3 looks at the safe conversation process. And obviously the main way couples communicate is to talk to each other. And if it doesn't feel safe, though, what do? We avoid. And because we're all imperfect, there's always going to be stuff to talk about, but you have to do it in a way that's safe. So the structure of the safe conversation process ensures safety, and when safety happens, connection can happen. So I'm going to talk about a structured way to talk to each other, not all the time, but when there's a charge on an issue, it's a good tool to have. And when safety happens, then connection can happen. As Harville and Helen state in their book, Doing Imago Relationship in the Space Between, given its power to transform the personal and the collective, the safe conversation process, the Imago dialogue, is the most important skill set a couple can possess. It's the language of conscious partnerships. So what does that look like? Well, there are 3 main elements to the safe conversation process: mirroring, validation, and empathy. And the mirroring is simply a reflective process that assures your partner that you have heard their perception and experience of the situation. Before you can respond, you need to mirror back what you have heard to their satisfaction. It's a flat mirror, no additions, no subtractions. Here's what I heard you say. Did I get it? Is that right? And they'll tell you. Okay, it's just making sure you hear each other. Because especially if there's a charge on an issue, sometimes people only hear maybe 70-80% of which is it's a distortion. And if I hear 80% of your response, that's a distortion of a distortion, and pretty soon it's chaos. So it slows things down, it does. We have to slow down that reactive old brain of ours. Second step is the notion of validation, the idea of validation. And validation simply means that you recognize and accept that the other person has also had an experience, and that his or her point of view, while it may be different from yours, has equal validity. Again, for me, this is the key. It doesn't make one right and one wrong. It takes things out of the power struggle. Okay, here's what I heard you say. Did I get it? And then the validation is, it makes sense. That's how you would see it, or that's what you would say. It reflects the other person's experience. And empathy, then, the third step is the communication to the other person, that you hear and understand his or her feelings and that they make sense. It might go something like this. Okay, given that, and then what your partner just said, I can imagine you might be feeling, and feelings are usually a word, okay? I imagine you might be feeling angry, and they might say, well, I wasn't angry, but I was hurt, or I was sad, or I was disappointed. Okay, you check it out. So the third element of the combination lock to a successful relationship is the essential skill you need to master, the safe conversation process. You must learn how to talk with your partner in a safe way. Because if your old brain senses danger, it'll react using the fight, flight, or freeze responses. In a conscious relationship, you need to respond, not react. And the structure of the safe conversation process ensures that safety. It's a way of talking without criticizing, listening without judging, and connecting through your differences. Okay? So next week, the last piece of the combination lock Chapter 4, it's looking at the imago system, and basically the past does affect the present. So great. Again, have a great Valentine's Day, great week. See you next week, and hopefully this, for me, I want your relationship to be great all year round. That's just a one day. Cheers. Have a great day.